You know that feeling, like you're trapped by walls you built yourself. We all put up defenses, right? But what if those very things we think are protecting us are actually a prison? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty powerful idea, that the real key to changing your world isn't about tearing down what's outside, but about rebuilding what's on the inside.
All right, to really get what this looks like in practice, let me tell you a story. I want you to meet Leo. Now, Leo's been through a lot. For years, pretty much every bit of kindness he ever got had strings attached. And well, after a while, he just built these massive, impenetrable walls around his heart. And this is the prison he's living in. I mean, look at that. He is literally chained by his own way of thinking. His core belief, the thing that runs his life, is just so simple and honestly heartbreaking. It's, people are trouble, trusting only gets you hurt. And you gotta understand, this isn't just him having a bad day. This is his entire worldview, built on a foundation of pure pain.
So what happens when someone comes along and offers him real, genuine, no-strings-attached kindness? Well, his reaction says it all. He just lashes out. He's shouting, "Why do you care? I'm just garbage," and he pushes the help away. It's such a classic defense mechanism, isn't it? He's testing them. He's pushing and pushing because deep down, he fully expects this kindness to fail, just like every other time. But then something shifts. And it's not some big, dramatic moment. It's something small. After weeks of just being there, patiently, the woman gives him a thoughtful little gift. It's a small fox, something she remembered he liked from a passing comment. And right there, for the very first time, a tiny crack appears in those walls. It was that specific, personal, "I was listening to you" act of kindness that finally broke through. And the result? It's a complete transformation. You see, her patience didn't just win him over, it did something way more important. It allowed him to actually believe that unconditional kindness could be a real thing. And here, in this final panel, we see a totally different Leo. He's calm, he's focused, he's actually creating something beautiful. He's free, finally.
Leo's story is it's such a powerful picture of what it means to break free, right? But it begs the question, what exactly are those walls made of? To really dig into that, the source material gives us this incredible metaphor from, of all places, metallurgy. It's the concept of our inner dross.
Okay, so here's how the metaphor works. Think about refining gold or silver. To get the pure precious metal, you have to heat it up like crazy, right? And when you do, all the junk, the impurities, the waste, that stuff separates and rises to the top so it can be scraped away. That waste is called dross. And the big idea here is that our minds, our characters, can go through that exact same kind of refining process. So, let's be super clear. What is dross? Literally, it's the garbage that gets skimmed off of molten metal. But metaphorically, and this is the important part, it's all our internal baggage. You know, the hurts, the fears, the negative beliefs we carry around, all the stuff that contaminates our character and keeps us from being who we're meant to be. So, what does this inner dross actually look like in our day-to-day lives? Well, we're talking about things like pride, ego, selfishness, maybe being too focused on materialism. It's those negative mindsets we get stuck in, the anger, the bitterness we just can't seem to let go of. According to this framework, this is the stuff that needs to be burned away in that refining fire.
Okay, so if all that dross is the problem, what's the solution? How does this whole refining process even get started?
Well, the source material points us to this core principle from 1 John. It says, "And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure." Now, what does that really mean? The idea is that having hope, a hope in something perfect, something pure, that becomes our motivation. It becomes the fire in our metaphor. It's the heat that fuels the whole process of our own purification.
So how does this actually play out? According to the source, this journey toward a refined character really has 3 key steps, and they're all connected. First up is repentance. That's just about acknowledging the dross, seeing it for what it is. Then comes faith, trusting in a power greater than yourself to help you. And finally, that inner faith just naturally flows outward into good works.
And this image here is just such a powerful picture of that whole journey. It all starts with that moment of surrender, that step of faith. And the end goal? That's what you see on the right. It's to have our character so refined, so purified, that it actually reflects the character of Christ himself.
All right, so let's talk about the payoff. What happens when this process actually works? What does it really look like when the heart is made pure? And this really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The whole idea is that it's not about gritting your teeth and just trying harder to do the right thing. No. The argument is that real, lasting change, the right actions, are always an outcome of an internal change. The action flows from who you are.
This chart right here breaks down exactly how that flow works. See, it all starts with the foundation, what it calls a holiness of heart, which is built on things like purity and integrity. That internal state, that's what transforms us from the inside. It renews our mind, it purifies our motives, and that, only that, is what produces the fruit, the good stuff you see on the outside.
So what is that fruit? What are these right actions that just naturally come from a pure heart? Or we're talking about things like love and compassion, truth and integrity, a sense of justice and fairness, mercy and forgiveness. And again, this isn't some checklist of things to do. It's the natural, effortless expression of the person you've become on the inside.
Look, this is not just some abstract theory, okay? The whole point of all of this is to figure out how we can actually apply these principles in our own lives, like starting right now.
So, let's bring this home. Let's make it personal. What is the dross in your life? I mean, really think about it for a second. What's that one specific thought pattern or habit or attitude that you know is holding you back?
And let's take it a step further, make it even more practical. How would reflecting the light, as the source material calls it, change your very next interaction today? Seriously, think about a family member, a coworker, or even a total stranger you're going to run into. How could that one conversation be different?
And here's one last kind of deep question to chew on. Where is your focus? Is it more on doing all the right things, getting that external checklist right? Or is it on being the right kind of person on the inside? Where is your energy for personal growth really going?
Let's close out with this really powerful affirmation from the source. It's a statement that just perfectly wraps up everything we've talked about. It goes, "I do not work for my own glory. I reflect the light of Christ through a heart made holy by His grace." So I'll just leave you with this question. What would change in our lives, really, if we truly lived by that?